All right, buddy.
We're gonna again. We're both sitting here like a bunch of mutes, waiting for the other guy to start the show, and we're so confused. We don't know what.
You. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Congratulations on a good day today at the SEC Media Days. You're there in Atlanta. For those folks who don't know, I'm here in beautiful paradise with the Bay behind me out here in Bay County, and we're going to talk some ball. It was a really good day for Gator fans and for the Gators, and for I think for his first public appearance, DJ Lagway did really well.
Yeah, I was there. It was a mob scene around him. Saw Zach Goodall was up there. Got to talk to Nick Delatorre today. DJ Lagway, again, if you've got doubts or questions about the kind of kids that are playing college football today, you got to be getting out. DJ Lagway is first class, and he's humble, big kid. Absolutely loves the University of Florida. That was my takeaway from talking to him and being around him. And Billy Napier was really fired up tonight. It was great.
A couple other notes as we move along with the combined shows tonight. For those of you I promised we'd be along an hour, half hour ago, I apologize. But you'll find this, we're busy. Rob had a ton of stuff to download today. Great job of doing the interviews. I've got Coach Steve Spurrier's first public comment on his remark about why Arch Manning, questioning why Arch Manning wasn't starting. That was said a couple of days ago on Pat Dooley's podcast. And I talked to Coach Spurrier today about that comment. He clarified it. Later on, we'll have that comment. And you had a chance to talk to a lot of people today. I saw some of the sound bites. And by the way, thanks for the shout out there. When late question, you got up and said, I'm Rob Browne from the SEC Sidelines at the Buddy Martin Show. Appreciate the pub. And just you take it from the top. Who had the best day today of all the coaches?
Started out this morning, you had Kalen DeBoer. I thought he was much more comfortable than he was last year. Jeff Lebby, Mississippi State, I thought he was really good. Forget he was an offensive lineman at Oklahoma, son-in-law of former Baylor coach Art Briles. I asked him about the junior colleges in Mississippi, how right in his backyard, is he doing anything different? He said, yeah. He goes, we're trying to do a lot of things different. I'm going to say it, and I'm not saying it because I'm on the show here. Billy Napier, in the last 3 years when I've been up there at Media Days and been around him, completely different. I like what David Baldoff said. He does. He feels confident in his team, and I would too if I had DJ Lagway, Caleb Banks, and Jake Slaughter. Don't talk to too many kids that you walk away and you go, man, that kid's 22 going on full adulthood. Jake Slaughter out of Ocala, Florida, absolutely loves Florida. And he made a point. I wasn't signed by Coach Napier. I was signed by the previous coaches. He's a fifth-year starter, All-American. I was really impressed. And then Brent Venables showed some mercy talking about, Jackson Arnold and Michael Hawkins, his two quarterbacks, leaving, and said, look, nobody needed to go through what they went through here last year. And John Mateer out of Little Elm, Texas, the transfer from Washington State to Oklahoma, very impressive.
Got a lot of runs. John Mateer got a lot of runs today, and I know a lot of people have been on his bandwagon, including Shane Matthews.
Wow.
And so he's an impressive young man. I know just based on what I saw on TV. You saw him up there close and personal. But he all of a sudden makes you have to do a double take now. Be careful. Oklahoma, a team that's been overlooked, they're starting to get some run, and people are starting to talk about them as one of those middle teams that could break out. Yeah. I don't believe it yet, but there are talking about him. And but you back to Billy Napier. I thought he acquitted himself nicely. I think it was McCarron who said when he went on there on his program, this is not what Billy likes doing, and he's not. He knows him because he was at Alabama when Billy was there. But talking about, if you watch Billy, and I don't mean to jump ahead of you here, I thought it was impressive how he was bursting with pride about his team, but he wanted to hold back a little bit, and I think you have to hold back a little bit because you talk about his team and the groups we talk about on this show. We say, hey, don't overlook those wide receivers. They are really something. He was bursting with pride about those guys. And then he said, I guess they haven't heard about the other Wilson coming back, Trey. Anyway, just talk about when you walk away from it. Everybody's positive. Everybody, this is SEC Media Days. But there are some people who make a distinct impression on you. Who made the impressions on you? You were in the room. You talked to them.
Billy Napier, just because he knows he's got a good team. He's invested the last 3 years, he and his staff. He feels, you can tell, he's really confident. Jake Slaughter, absolutely, very, very confident in what they have.
He's the captain. I didn't even know that. I never knew he was the captain.
He's a warrior, And I'll tell you, DJ Lagway, he's great with the media. I mean, it was all around him on those breakout sessions. And I think probably what I was impressed with was just he understands what being at Florida is all about. And you asked that question, which I, relayed to Billy Napier about Billy Napier, how did they identify him in Texas in high school and how big of a help he is in recruiting. And, DJ talked about big involvement in the class of 25. Well, that last 2 weeks of recruiting for Florida was really, it ended up going from the 61st to like 7th in the country. So DJ now said, we got to go out and win games. We got to win a bunch of games. And then he said, recruiting will take care of itself.
Well, he had played a big part in it, and that's what Billy spoke about somewhat in that bite. We don't have it, I'm sorry, about how he helped recruit that team. And so I think we all kind of expected that DJ would come through in shining colors. But remember, he's still a freshman, basically. He hasn't even played it down as a sophomore. And he is just learning. And as someone said, I think it was McCarron, I believe they asked him about it. He said, well, he made some mistakes, freshman mistakes, and he was a freshman. But also Billy pointed out that he was set to play a couple of series every game, as I predicted he would. Yeah. And then he got pushed to the front of the class when Mertz got hurt. And he stepped in and got accelerated, which in some ways was good for him, and asked to do things he really wasn't prepared to do. So what he did was on raw talent. And with that injury, and by the way, I heard a lot of the bites. If there's any doubt about his physical status, I think by the time he got through with that third degree from all the media, asked over and over, can you make the throws? Are you okay? Do you feel all right? I think you walked away feeling like he says he's all right. He feels he's all right. Maybe he is all right.
Well, one funny thing, Jake Slaughter is your center.
Oh, man, having Jake Slaughter as my center is the best thing I could have ever happened, especially last year, being a true freshman. And for him to be able to take something off my plate, and we working together and helping me learn it better, learning protection, learning different blocking schemes for run things like that. But it's been great, and I'm thankful for a guy like Jake Slaughter to have up front blocking for me.
People were asking him about his arm, his health and all. And he was funny. He wasn't mad. He just said, it's not like I have a prosthetic arm. He goes, I'm good. And he goes, I'm doing everything I need to be doing. But he just did not look like somebody who is injured. He exudes confidence. And he talked about what you just said, being put out there last year, ready for the moment. He's been training, like he said, his entire life for this. So I'm not surprised at his success.
DJ, how much more mature do you feel this time versus this time last year?
Say it again?
How much more mature do you feel and much you've learned from a year ago to now?
Oh, I've learned so much just about me, about the team, about the offense. I feel like I've grown so much, I've matured so much. Just from going to year 1 to year 2 has been a huge jump.
In your job of recruiting, the way y'all finished last year, 6-1.
Yep.
and you recruit a lot yourself. How involved are you now?
You know, I've been involved, you know, a lot, especially with the 25 class. You know, we got a lot of guys, good players in this 26 class. But, you know, when we do our business on the field, that's when all that's going to take care of itself. So right now I'm just trying to focus on the field, you know, win games, and, yeah, the recruiting's going to take care of itself.
TG, there's been a lot of concern about.
That's Edgar.
Oh, yeah, Edgar's in there. All your boys are in there, yeah.
There was a lot of Florida media.
Well, yeah, that always is media.
God.
Today, yeah. There were a lot. And this was Alabama Day, too.
Yeah.
And yet they didn't dominate. Alabama did not dominate, that's for sure. All in all, I mean, we know what we get with media days. It's people at their best. It's everybody's hopeful. They all have a great university and a great institution. They're proud of their academics and their accomplishments and their young men and what they're doing. And the grade point average is going up. Somebody was saying, it might have been Levy, who said they started out the first year. He was there with a 2.3 or something, or a grade point that went to a 2.5. Still was talking about that. And then went to a 1. And every year that it went up, the better they wasn't that because you only been there a year. But he talked about how much better the team did. Florida's got a very good grade point average. I remember something like 3.2, maybe. That sounds might be a little high, but the kind of kids they're getting right now are bright. Lagway, you can just look at his eyes and watch him talk and tell. I mean, there's others, don't get me wrong. My gosh, I'm in love with Arch Manning. I think that guy is incredible. He's not only, I talked to Coach Spurrier about him, and we'll have a conversation about him in just a minute about that. And if you go into a laboratory with a test tube and said, make me a perfect quarterback for college, that's what he would look like and how he would act. All the breeding, all the abilities, all the personalities, all the courtesy, the demeanor, and whatever. He is, and yet, as he points out, he hasn't played but 2 sports in 2 seasons. So he's got to yet play. And when you hear Coach Spurrier talk about it, he loves him too. And he's known his dad, granddaddy. Did you know Arch Manning's grandfather, Archie, came to most of his high school practices? I didn't know that. I heard him say that. And so he's been very close to his grandfather, even though his daddy's not the one of the famous, so-called famous Mannings. Cooper would have been a good player and might have been a star, but he got injured in his back, couldn't play. So anyway, so Arch, everybody's rooting for Arch. I'm rooting for Arch. I want him to. He might be that golden boy of college football, which you want to see. But let's see. Am I giving him the advantage of saying he's going to beat Florida? No. I think Florida and DJ Lagway can beat Texas. That's a bold statement. But I think they can have a shot at it in the 4th game of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Florida to win 10. I got them splitting with the Texas schools because they play them back-to-back, and then losing at Ole Miss. So that's 10-2. A couple of interesting things. David Cutcliffe was on with us last week, who coached Peyton at Tennessee, coached Eli at Ole Miss. For years, Arch and his younger brother, Hud, who's also at Texas, would come up to Durham when Coach Cutcliffe was at Duke and work on passing drills, fundamentals, and techniques. To add, credibility to what you said a moment ago, you talked about what did David Cutcliffe say to Arch? He said, just be a good teammate. Like I told your Uncle Peyton when I coached him and your Uncle Eli. And then Archie, you go back to that Book of Manning documentary with John Goodman that did such a great job. His dad told him before he went off to Ole Miss, he said, just be a good guy. Just be a good guy. That's all you need to do, just be a good teammate. I know where Drew, Mississippi is. I go there a lot. It's in the Mississippi.
Yeah.
They're just humble, toughness. And the other thing is Arch, I was told this by someone that knows, promised his grandfather, he made him promise he wouldn't touch that NIL money until he's officially the starter. So
I heard you say it before. I heard you say that. Yeah. So
that's cool.
I understand. So now we're on to day 4. Who got left? I don't even remember who we all. I can't keep track. We've got 11 schools so far.
We've got 12 down tomorrow. Missouri,
yeah.
Arkansas,
yeah.
Kentucky, and Texas A&M.
Yeah, it's not a banner day, but it looks like the Tide that they have lots of people there. They always do. Feinbaum hasn't been as dominant as he usually is, although he had a really good Elaine Kiffin interview yesterday, which went viral. And in fact, I think they even wrote about him on The Athletic. It was two guys being flippant with each other, but having a good time with it and not taking it personal.
Yeah.
Like, you tried to get me fired. You said this, you said that. And they have, it's almost like if you go way back in the days, people had relationships who were so-called adversaries, like Howard Cosell and Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
They were great TV together. But anyway, so Kiffin's good. And we talked about this last night on the show, how he's beginning. Oxford has grown on him, and he's beginning to like it there. So we'll see. Anybody surprised?
I think for the first time, Hugh Freeze, since he's been at Auburn, he actually looked like he had testosterone in his veins, in his body. He looked like he's confident. He has been so the defeated man. And I'm just telling you what I see. I don't care if I'd tell him if he was standing here. He looked like a beaten down, defeated man. But how could you not with the roster that he inherited at Auburn? And I think, like Billy Napier, they both upgraded their rosters significantly. But even last year, Auburn was still over 50% 4 and 5 stars on the roster, which was 16th best in the country. And you got to be over 50% to win a national championship. I don't think, but maybe one school's ever done that without that kind of a number. But Freeze looks confident. And just, we talked about it on the AU Undercover podcast with Terry Bowden about an hour ago. But Jackson Arnold, Auburn's transfer quarterback, is working out with the same coach that trains Patrick Mahomes. So Jackson looks, acts, and it just feels like you're around an alpha male quarterback when you're around him. But he's got to be rewired from what happened last year. Any quarterback who has a season like that, when your offensive line is gone, your top 5-6 receivers are gone, that's tough to overcome. So you're going to find out how tough he is because Auburn starts right out the gate against Baylor Friday, August 29th, and they're going to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the Big 12. They may win the whole thing.
Yeah. I want to get back to a few humorous moments. And by the way, you're going to do one of your spots here quickly, and I'll do one of mine coming up because at the bottom of the hour, let's see, is at the top of the hour, we've got Alec Peak Wilbur joining us on the program at some point. And I just wanted to say, I go for the little things. I look for a sense of humor. I look for people who can sort of break the atmosphere by cracking a joke. And I thought DJ did a good job today when he opened up his little press to say, all right, I don't have a prosthetic arm.
Yeah.
Just letting all you know that. But I know I'm feeling great. Training's been amazing. I'm actually getting better at things. I'm not just trying to get back to throwing the ball. I've been working on mechanics. It's going to help my accuracy this year, help my decision making. So, little sense of humor. That's always a good thing to have for a young guy.
Yeah. I mean, you can be too uptight. Okay. Hey, want to say Matei Masimara, GPS, buy one, get one. Winter Timber Outdoors, located in Athens, Alabama, opening up a store in Auburn, Alabama. First week of August, 13,000 square feet. All your outdoor hunting and fishing needs, outdoor life, Yeti coolers, Yeti everything. They got it. Their plan is to grow in the footprint that is the Southeastern Conference. So look for them in a town near you. Damn proud to have them as a sponsor. Buddy, I like what you just said about just kind of having fun. But, Lane Kiffin, he talked about he lost his mom and his dad in the last year. Mm-hmm. We all know Monty Kiffin. We didn't know his mom, but he made a point to say, the wives, the moms, without them, a coach can't do his job. And
there's something
he's really
that
been through a lot.
We probably don't talk about enough.
Yeah.
Is that so many times wives are the glue. Most of the times they are the glue.
They are.
For these guys who work long hours, travel. Mm-hmm. When you want to be a coach, you have to make a certain sacrifice.
Yeah.
They pay a lot better than they used to. You and I who've known high school and college coaches who make chump change.
Yeah.
Now you make millions. But the point is that whether you make millions or chump change, it requires a lot of commitment, being away on holidays, not being there for your kids' recital, all that sort of stuff. And women have to make that up. We saw that. Who was it that said that their wife wasn't there because she was at the ball game?
Kirby Smart.
Kirby Smart, his son was at the ball game, and she was taking him there. So you got to be a football family. I think when you get into that atmosphere, you're around the people. And I've known a lot of families because back in the day we could have personal relationships.
Yeah.
I knew the wives, I knew kids if there were any, etc. And it's a family deal. When you got your family okay, they're taking the pressure off you. You already got the pressure on you. Women do not get nearly enough credit for that. And again, do you show me a successful coach? I'll tell you about an All-American woman.
Oh, absolutely.
They have to go through it.
Yeah. Let's go to a soundbite. I talked with Florida defensive tackle Caleb Banks, another impressive leader on that team. Brendan, do we have the soundbite with Caleb Banks?
What about the schedule? Everybody talks about looking out ahead, logo fever. You don't want that to happen. How do you break it down? You've got those big road games. It flips this year. You do have to go to Miami, and there's always revenge for whatever that means.
Yeah. Like Coach Napier said last night, spot the ball. I feel like that's like one of our mottos. Not really thinking too much about, the big games. Honestly, like if you're prepared and ready to go, you can play anywhere. So, spot the ball.
I want to talk about it. Spot
Jay,
the
how
ball.
much more mature do you feel this time versus this time last year?
Say it again?
How much more mature do you feel and much you've learned from a year ago?
Okay, anyway, that's their new mantra this year. Spot the ball. And I like it because it's saying, let's put the ball down and play. We don't care who you are. The spot the ball, we'll see. And it's funny because Billy used to say, put the ball down. That was his saying. Put the ball down in the grass, let's find out. Well, they have obviously carved that up and polished it up and now have made that their mantra, spot the ball. Come on, you give me your best, I'll give you mine. I like that. That's good. And you can tell that the players have a great deal of pride about that when they say spot the ball. Caleb Banks is really come on. He's the guy, and I know David Baldoff asked earlier about him, and thanks for playing that soundbite. He could very well be a first-round draft choice. He's played his way into that. And if you watch some of the games, and I've watched a bunch of them lately, he makes a lot of pressure plays and late in the season on the defense. That defense, Rob, you realize, and of course I know we're all being blue sky, and as Billy says, rainbows and what sunshine and rainbows, whatever.
And puppies.
And whatever it may be, yeah. But we're all doing that right now. But you realize if that defense just gets a little bit better and makes 2 or 3 stops, they probably would have won 10 games last year when you can't make a stop. And the linebacking core, which Billy talked about a little bit, I think he said he had 4 really good linebackers, as I remember. And he named them. I didn't get them all down. But certainly he loves his linebackers, and I think he needs one more safety, I think he said. But you realize that Cormani McLean, the 5-star now, has got a brand new body, and he's out there at corner. And he could be a world-class corner after all his rehab. Now, if the defense just gets a little bit better, and they played really well at times last year, this team could now move up from an also-ran 8-win type team to a 10-win season, which would be huge. I said could. I know the schedule kind of precludes that, but there's a lot of things that could happen. Some of the things that have gone wrong for Florida, like too many men on the field or turning the ball over or whatever, not making a stop. If some of those things go right, this is a contender.
Well, most football games are decided on 4 or 5 plays. That's a historical fact, data. You can look at it. You think about in the SEC, and the heat, and you talk about the tropical heat that you get at Florida. Second after that is LSU. Then you got Auburn. I mean, if you're 320 pounds, you can go about 40 snaps a game probably at max effort. You got to have help. And a 35-40% increase in defensive play, that's how you get to 10. And a quarterback and a running game that can chew up some clock and give your defense rest also makes that happen. And Florida's got some running backs. They got two good running backs.
Yeah,
buddy, two good ones.
Yeah, let me do this real fast. We've got we got our special guest who's on us every Wednesday night. She'll be on. Laura will be on in a moment, and I got an audio on Spurrier I want her to hear. Let's, Brendan, can you bring her on? I can't do it here. Ms. Wilbur, if she's there, and then we have audio from Steve Spurrier today. Oh, she's not there. Okay, we'll have her, I think, at the top.
We got Laura Rutledge. We got a chance to talk to her today.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
She really likes y'all.
Well, she should. Brendan discovered
I'm talking with Laura Rutledge, SEC Network, ESPN. Laura, your takeaways from what you've seen the first 3 days of SEC Media Days, and kind of let's look ahead to this upcoming season, because all the distractions we know, NIL and the portal being what they are, the closer you get to blocking and tackling, it's a lot better, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're all looking forward to. And I just think my biggest takeaway so far is just the strength of the league and how many teams are going to be right there at the top of college football at the end of the season. So much talk around Texas. You can't really find a weakness on this team. You've got Georgia that I think some people are even forgetting about, LSU, Alabama. There's so many of these teams that I think are kind of almost guaranteed. But then, you look at the Florida Gators, a lot of people are high on them, as they should be. Not many teams finish the season as strong as the Gators did last year. South Carolina is another team to watch out for. So just across the board, there are so many that could potentially make a run for the college football playoff or even the SEC championship prior to that.
And you don't notice any lack of enthusiasm, whether it's 4, 12, or 16 with the playoff, do you?
No, I mean, I think people just want to see great football at the end of the season. And maybe eventually we do see that expansion. But right now, as Greg Sankey continues to say, there's not much appetite from the SEC side to expand if it doesn't mean that they're going to get more teams in, right? They need to have the guarantee that they're going to get those teams in for it to really be worth it.
And one more thing, I do work with Buddy and Brendan Martin, Gator Media. A lot of love for you, people down there. You're a Gator. Talk about growing up down here in the South, and now you're up in Connecticut. We're not going to lose you, are we?
No, I love the South. I love the SEC. I love the SEC Network, and always just really proud to be a Gator. And of course, always so thankful to Buddy and Brendan for the help that they gave me when I was at Florida in school.
Easiest thing we ever did, Brendan. She woke up one day and she said, well, there she is, the next Aaron Andrews. And that's what we said, first day. And,
she's so nice. She's
she is
genuine. She's a really nice person.
Yeah, for sure. She is certainly that. So let's enjoy. I'm so proud of her. And okay, let's hear from Jake Slaughter, my Ocala man. I'm so proud of him. And you got him a day. Good job, Rob. You had a heck of a day. And then we'll do our little commercial, and maybe we'll get I don't want to produce a show. We'll get Allie on and talk about Steve Spurrier about it.
Yep.
What's it like playing for Billy Napier as a coach, and just what he means to y'all?
It really is special. And yeah, what I'll say is I didn't ever get recruited by Coach Napier. I didn't commit to Coach Napier, but man, did I get lucky. I fell into the lap of just a man. His character, his integrity, and it really is special to me to go to work for a guy like Coach Napier every day.
Yeah. And he, that guy in the locker room, you go in there, he is a captain, fifth-year senior from Ocala, grew up, loving the Gators.
Went to Trinity.
Trinity Episcopal or Trinity Catholic?
Trinity Catholic.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. There you go. That explains it. It's just a lot of fun to talk to these kids. I say kids. I have kids that age, but that love their school.
Yeah.
We need that.
We do. All right, let me tell you about somebody I love. That's Meldon Law. One of the luckiest things that I ever ran into was Jeffrey Meldon and Meldon Law as friends, and then, of course, then my clients, and then, of course, friends today. We get a chance to share in all this Gator glory with one of the greatest Gator fans of all time, and Jeffrey Meldon. I love having Jeffrey on because he's always got a story to tell. When he gets back this time, he'll be telling us about the 7-week trip he's taking right now with his wife, Patricia. They're out in Europe and Asia and all over the world, and a fabulous trip. And I know Jeffrey's having a good time. I think they went to Argentina one time and tangoed for a month, as I recall. They have great vacations. My wife is over and said, "Yeah, sure." But anyway, so they do practice law, and I like to remind them, as you see their logo and you see the QR code on the screen, if you need a lawyer, it's a great place to start. And they will take care of your needs. And they will, if they can't do it themselves or find somebody who can, they started on a case for me and work on it. I appreciate that. Love the Meldons. I love Meldon Law. Meldon Law, they won't back down. All right, so in a couple of minutes, we hope we're going to get Allie Peak Wilbur on. And she's been busy with her 4 girls. I expect one day if they're going to have girls in football, there'll be one of them. Her husband was a punter in Florida, and she will be on here shortly with us. All right, so Rob, knowing you, you get so excited about football. I would imagine once you go out there and you talk with those players and coaches, you're ready to come back and strap it on, aren't you?
Yeah, you really are. But you got to know how to read the room and body language. You're just some coaches that had not been real confident the previous years. I'll say Hugh Freeze, Billy Napier look a lot different now. But again, look what they've recruited. Got the roster. If I'm DJ Lagway, yeah, I like that receiver room. If I'm Jackson Arnold at Auburn, I love the receiver room. But both of them also, if you don't have an offensive line, none of that stuff matters. So they're both better. And I'll tell you something else. When you listen to Kalen, DeBoer, DeBoer he's used to winning. And someone asked him about, his victories over Sarkisian in Texas. And, he's learned from a lot. But another question was asked. They said, I think Kalen DeBoer's record is 12-3 against highly ranked teams. And he said, but how do you get to where you don't lose to teams that you're not supposed to lose to? He said, yeah, that's a good point. He goes, we got to change that because last year, who saw the Vanderbilt game coming? Who saw the Oklahoma game coming? They didn't. And that was enough to keep them out of the playoffs. So I think everybody looks ahead in a 12-chapter book, chapter 9, chapter 12. You better read them one at a time. And I asked several Florida players about logo fever. You don't get caught up in that schedule. And you can tell they're focused very much on, if we don't have a great start, all that other stuff, those dreams will be up in smoke. That's what I took away.
All right. Just got a message from Allie Peak Wilbur. She'll be joining us momentarily here on the show, and we'll catch up with her, which we always like to do. Been a really good run for Florida in recruiting, and that's been strong. Notice everybody seems to love to have a recruit come out and commit during the media days. I think Florida had one, and I think Georgia had one, etc. Georgia, I'm surprised it's not coming off. They're coming off as one of the teams to beat because people say Texas and Georgia, but they're not the bully that they used to be. They're not no one say, Georgia, because they look like they could be beatable. Rob, why is that?
Well, they don't have the guys stacked up 2 and 3 deep on the front 7 on defense, and it's hard for anybody to do that anymore. So what Kirby Smart, you can tell by talking to their players, listening to him, talking to people we have, that cover Georgia. their mantra is, we just got to be junkyard dog tough, tougher physically and mentally than everybody we play. And you go back to last year, Carson Beck, there were a lot of people saying he was going to be the number one pick in the draft. And I was like, well, he's not going to have, Brock Bowers. He's not going to have Ladd McConkey. What ended up happening was at Georgia, their receivers dropped 37 passes, which was the most in college football. Carson Beck bolted with his $285,000 Lamborghini SUV to Miami, chasing a girl. They broke up, and his car got stolen. So, he's taken over after Cam Ward was there. Now they got Gunnar Stockton, who's just tough. I mean, he's, Matt Dillon tough. You could just tell his body, he embraces it. But they will have better receivers this year. But that's just that they don't. Georgia starts with their defense getting after your ass for a full 60, and it's going to be different this year. There's not the experience on the front seven, especially on the defensive line. So, that right there makes people less confident about Georgia because nobody really has the depth. They're starting at Arizona State or Indiana, and you've got to be able to contend with that. It's not your 66. It's really your top 44 or top 48 because don't forget special teams because they're a third of every game.
All right, so Rob can't help himself. He's had a lot of sugar today, and he's been to SEC Media Days. Did a great job, brought back 100,000 bites, and did talk to a bunch of people. And now we welcome in Allie Peak Wilbur. We're early tonight. Great to have you back on. I know you've been busy. I'm going to play a soundbite for you here in a moment. Can I? Is your mic working?
I believe it's.
Oh yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good. Yeah. You've heard the story. I'm sure most of you have about Steve Spurrier's comments regarding Arch Manning. Right? We all know this story, right? Here's the story moved today. I think out of the game. So Texas football quarterback Arch Manning doesn't seem aware of Steve Spurrier's quip aimed in his direction a few weeks ago. I think Kevin Brockman wrote this on a recent podcast with the Gators SEC columnist Pat Dilly. Spurrier questioned if Manning was worthy of the preseason hype around him. Spurrier went on to explain if Manning was that good, why didn't he take the starting job from Quinn Ewers in the first 2 years on campus? With Ewers gone, after leading the Longhorns to back-to-back college football playoff appearances, Manning will finally get a shot to lead the Texas offense and is his starting quarterback. Okay, so Arch was asking about it, and he's kind of downplayed it. But he said, hey, so I'm worried about myself and trying to get better each day, he said. And he said, that's that. He said, but I really don't pay too much attention to what people say. But he did say that he knew Coach Spurrier, and then when he was able to talk to him, he did talk about his grandfather, et cetera, et cetera. And his quote was, I'm not carrying the caring business. Other people think. I don't know what that might sound like, but I have only played 2 games. All right, so that's what he said. Well, I talked to Chris Spurrier today. I don't know if you got queued up or not, Brendan, about that quote. I didn't take it to mean when he said, if Arch was that good, why didn't he play? I took it to mean there was a coaching philosophy difference because we know, Allie, we've seen Steve Spurrier with a quick hook on quarterbacks. Just ask Danny Werfel, who got benched one time for having a wet ball in Georgia, and he pulled his quarterbacks a lot. So if we've got that, I want you to hear this bite and comment on us. Brendan, can you play that bite?
Was if you've got a really good quarterback and the first guy's struggling, how come Sark didn't put him in? That was my comment. Did Sark not have confidence in him when what's the guy's name? What's the starter's name again? Quinn Ewers, yeah. Seventh round NFL pick. If I'm coaching that dang Texas team, and I got Arch on the bench and Ewers is struggling around a bit, you know what I'd do, don't you? That's what I was trying to say. Put the next guy in.
Yeah, you did.
And made so the only thing you could figure, well, maybe Sark doesn't believe that, or he didn't have confidence in Arch. I don't know which one was it.
It's actually a great question. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That good put him in like you did when you put Werfel in. You know,
I put Terry Dean in one time and took Danny out at Georgia. Danny couldn't hold the ball on that wet day, remember?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's what I was trying to say. Why didn't they substitute if this guy's the number one Heisman prospect? Why didn't they even play him? I don't know. But that's just.
I don't know if he thought he was doing Archie, doing his parents a favor, or by holding him out, or Cooper, or whatever. I don't know. It is a great question, though. It's worth asking. But Mike Sark, like Quinn Ewers was the number one draft pick. So I don't know. But what have you ever met him? Number one, have you know about Arch? What's your thoughts on what you heard?
He's a wonderful young man. I met him after the game out there last year. I was walking across the field when the game was over and everybody's out there shaking hands and so forth. So got a chance to say hello, and he said, "Yeah, my granddad said you were going to be here today." He says he shoots a text to his granddad or vice versa almost every day. So he's pretty close with Arch Senior, I guess. But no, I was not being critical of Arch. I was questioning why they didn't make a change a few games when Ewers was struggling, and but that's coach. Coach believes in staying with the first guy all the way through. And my philosophy was, if a player's struggling and you think you got one just as good, give him a chance to get in there.
Gotcha. That's great. Well, like if you went into a laboratory, got a test tube, and tried to design a quarterback that Arch Manning, he's got everything, doesn't he? He's Prince Charming.
Yeah.
Good looking. He's smart.
What is he, about 6'3" or 4?
Yeah, and good stuff. Fast, and he runs like his granddaddy. Remember his granddaddy? How he used to run?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He can run and throw and hopefully make good decisions. And my first pick for the Heisman is going to be Lagway. Right now it's Lagway, Denoris Sellers in South Carolina, and then third is going to be Arch. Now it could all change as the season progresses because everybody's got to go play. But it just surprised me that what surprised me is the bettors had him favored to win the Heisman, Arch, when he had not played really much at all.
Yeah, I think you think.
That's why.
All right, well, you heard that, Alec. Good evening to you. What do you think?
So I wrote down some thoughts actually while I was listening. But the end might be the most interesting part to me. So he says that he has Arch right now third on his Heisman voting ballot.
First.
We're to vote right now. So what that tells me is he doesn't actually question Arch's ability. He is questioning Sark's coaching, I think is the actual story here, as opposed to like, well, if he's really that good, he would have played him. It's more, he is that good and you didn't play him, which I think is interesting. But I also looked up Ewers' record as the starter at Texas. He's 27-9. And in 2023, he won the Big 12 championship game. And obviously we know in 2024, he appeared in the SEC championship game, didn't win. Obviously, Georgia got the best of him. But I don't really think that what Texas was working with was really a situation where you were like, man, is my starter not good enough? Maybe I should bench him. They won a ton of games. They came into the hardest conference in college football and did exceptionally well. So I wouldn't foresee a scenario where Sark pulled him. If you won 6 games, right, you could go back and say, this was crazy. Why did they not pull Ewers in favor of Arch? Clearly the season wasn't going to turn out the way they wanted to anyway. They should have gotten him some reps. I mean, they were in it for a national title all the way through. So I could see why Sark would ride the starter who has performed incredibly well for him over the course of his career at Texas.
I don't think Wilbur of Peek Inside Gator Football, as you see there on the screen. Check it out. She is one of the most outstanding podcasts around. Rob, you heard what Steve said. I took that as him saying it's just a difference in coaching philosophy. What did you take?
Allie's on doing something. I mean, 27-9 for Quinn Ewers as a quarterback. I mean, he played at South Lake Carroll. Klubnik played at Austin Westlake. But Quinn missed 4 or 5 games due to injuries the last few years, okay? And I think if you go back, people always say, well, if that other guy's so good, why isn't he starting? You also have to think about the temperature, the climate in the locker room, okay? And so, I mean, growing up as a kid, and Buddy, we all, Allie's way too young to remember this, but when Archie played, he ran like a wild man out there on the field. And
took some hits too, by the way.
Yes, he did. And I think Arch is so humble, and the way his personality is, he didn't want to rock that locker room. He just wants to be, like Coach Cutcliffe said, he told him, just be a great teammate. And Allie's, the 27-9 record for Quinn Ewers. But Coach Spurrier's, see, what I like about him is he's getting people out of their comfort zone. Okay. I like that. And that's good that he's questioning that, but he comes back and look, y'all, I saw Steve Spurrier and Steve Melnick at the Saban Legacy Award, May of 22 at the club up on the mountain in Birmingham. Here comes Archie. There's Coach Spurrier. Those guys are, they're friends. Yeah. And I think that's perfectly fine. If Steve Spurrier says something, I'm listening to what he says.
Hey, South Lake's in Grapevine in Dallas. Is that where it is?
Yeah.
You know what?
They got a $70 million high school stadium.
Well, let me just tell you about it. Brendan won't remember this. When he was 15, Terry Bradshaw lived there, and we were there. And the South Lake Children's wanted a place to get their annual picture made. They came over to Terry's house in the front yard. Guess who was right in the middle of those little 15-year-old girls? Brendan Martin. He was there. Right. Yes, he was. He started. So, Allie, did you get a chance to listen at all to any of the stuff on Media Days today?
Not a whole lot. It's been a very gymnastics week this week so far for the Wilbur children. So we have been pretty MIA, but I've seen a couple things. I saw the spot the ball.
How you like that?
You know what? I love the attitude of, hey, we are confident in what we bring to the table. I think it's different if you say we're going to beat everyone on our schedule. Who cares what it says? But what he was essentially saying is, we think we have a team to be in the fight with anybody that we play. And I love that confidence. You built this roster. I hope you feel that way about your team. I love it.
I tell you, it reminds me of is the old golf cliche. The overconfident golfer at the first tee who walks up and says, where's the first tee and what's the course record? That's what it said. That kind of flip it, spot the ball is what it sounds like to me. And I love it. I hope they think of it. Because he used to say, put the ball down. That was his saying. They've changed it now to spot the ball. All right, you want to talk ball? Let's go play, spot the ball. I like that, a little confident.
I think there's a difference between confidence and arrogance as well. And I think it sends the message that you're confident. I don't think that there's anything about it that comes across as arrogant. I think I want my coach to have confidence in the team that he's fielding. And if he doesn't, that's kind of a problem, right?
Yeah. I would say I wasn't there. I watched it on TV and Rob was. If whatever the score on the Q rating was, as they say in television, for DJ Lagway, today it went up. I think he raised his level of awareness, his intelligence. He stayed extra long at the interviews. Matter of fact, while you guys were holding over there, Rob was asking 8 questions. The guys back at the ESPN still saying, where is he? He's supposed to be over here at ESPN. He made sure he touched bases with everybody. I give him an A+ for his first real public appearance.
Yeah. I think it comes down to the fact that he's a really good guy. And he's a really intelligent kid too. And those things, when you're able to relay that on a stage like this, I think it's really important. And I love the decision to bring him. I know we talked about this last week, but I think bringing your starting quarterback, I know he's really young, but and he's somebody that there's been questions about this whole offseason. Is he healthy? How's his arm? And so I really do feel like bringing him, allowing him to kind of face the firing squad. He's going to answer well because he's incredibly well-spoken. He's intelligent. He's media savvy. And then it is going to save you a season of people asking the questions about his injury. He's now answered them.
Yeah, and on that matter, and I asked Rob, I asked earlier about this. If you heard that interview, and I listened to every word of it, and you can tell when players are BSing you or are kind of run jive past you or whatever about injuries. If you had to make a decision in a court of law about what he was saying, I think he left no doubt that he is physically fine and good to go as a player, making all the throws. Rob, did you get that feeling?
Yeah, and he had fun with it because there were multiple questions. There was just a barrage of them there at the beginning. And like I said, Allie, he said, hey, it's not like I have a prosthetic arm, and he doesn't. And he's just if somebody's hurt, you could tell because if somebody went out in public, somebody bumps into your shoulder, you're going to scream. He's not like that, and he exudes confidence. You just are around certain people. Some people are just, Debbie Downers. He's not. And again, my impression of Billy Napier the first 3 years was he was not an energy vampire, but he was not happy. He's completely different now. That's my body language assessment. Ellis Johnson on our show on Mondays on the morning sidelines has known Billy since he was 21 years old. And he said, look, a guy can coach. He can coach quarterbacks, he can coach offense. And he's got two brothers coaching. He talked about his two brothers are high school coaches. His dad coached from a wheelchair. This guy's a badass. He's just what you want.
Years he did.
Yeah,
he had ALS, but he didn't start out that way. Yeah. But that's how he wound up.
But it's a family. I mean, and Alan, you know it. I mean, your husband played for the Gators. You got 4 girls. Y'all go to every Gator game. You know, like you said, he's a smart kid. He's very mature. I mean, was he 19?
Yeah.
He's 19. I was a freshman in college when I was 19. That's impressive.
He's had to handle a lot from the moment he stepped foot on campus. Honestly, before he even stepped foot on campus. And he has handled it with a wisdom beyond his years. He's handled it with grace. He always comes across not only as genuine, but like almost excited to meet all of the people that are there to meet him. And he always has a willingness to share his time. And that's not always the case, right? There are definitely guys that get very big for their britches. And DJ Lagway has every reason to be that way, and he's not. And I love that about him. My
friend Olin Buchanan, TexAgs.com, was up there, and he asked him, he said, hey, you're from right near College Station. He goes, how did you really consider Texas A&M? He was very nice. And he said, what made you choose Florida? And he said, oh, the atmosphere. He said, once I went there, I was never going anywhere else.
Yeah. Just a couple of notes before you're ready to wrap up at the end of the show. It's always good to have a little humorous something going on. I didn't realize this at the time. When you have new teams coming into the league, you're not familiar always with their songs and their all that sort of stuff. Apparently today, yesterday.
It was
Texas,
awful.
Yeah, when they brought the coach up to the podium, he heard some strange music. They played the Texas A&M song as he was taking the stage. You know that, Rob? Alex, you know about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a thing. I like how Billy, you could just read his hand a little bit. He likes to give you the poker face. But the two things that came out to me today were we talked about his receivers. He loves his receivers. And he made a comment that they don't know Trey Wilson's coming back yet. Like they missed that one. They haven't been talking about Wilson, but not Trey. And so they've got a lot of talent there at that level. And then the other thing was they asked him about his weaknesses, etc. And he kind of acted like he resented the fact that people downplay his linebackers. And he said he had 4 starters there. I think he mentioned Childs and Pup Howard and Miles Graham and somebody else maybe. And so he knows that he's kind of playing possum on that one. He's got some players there. Now, how's it all going to work? I don't know. But I think all in all, I'd say, and Rob, you were there, it was a really good day for Billy Napier at the Gators and DJ Lagway.
Another thing, too, is Florida has a massive media following. I mean, I know you talked in Friends and have talked about back in the day, 35 or 40 newspapers in the state covering them. But you got 23 million people in that state. And Billy Napier talked about over 500,000 living alumni, University of Florida. I mean, the 55, 60,000 students on campus.
Yeah, and he said today they're approaching 500,000 alumni.
Yeah,
which means they all gave $1 or $10, what that could be, right?
Yeah, could be a couple of quarterback and a couple of great receivers.
Yeah. So Allie, it's getting closer now. Media days are here. You began to feel anything in the air, Allie?
You know, I'm interested to see how camp goes. I am really cautiously optimistic. I'm trying hard not to fully just immerse myself in the Kool-Aid because I think there are things that Florida can improve upon from last year, but I like what they've built. And I think that they should be in every game that they play this year. And I think they have the opportunity to steal some that they won't be favored in. And I'm excited to see. I think Gator fans are going to be happy with the way the year plays out. That doesn't mean I'm predicting that we're making the playoffs or anything like that, but I think this year will build on what happened last year, and I think that's huge.
I know you haven't had a chance to be busy all day, but when you get a chance to play back some of Billy, you'll see it, I'm sure, online, and give me your read because haven't been very happy about how much he's held back, and he hasn't been very forthcoming.
Yeah.
And I think he did better on that. He could still do a little more. He's played his cards a little too close to the vest sometimes, and some Gator fans don't like it. Now people are saying, even somebody said, it wasn't Karen, somebody said, I love the fact that Billy shut the noise out. Well, that's how he did it, by just not responding to what people like questions or acting like he didn't really. What 800-pound gorilla, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see if that strategy has worked for him, and maybe it has. But they say with a great deal of respect, Rob. They say with a great deal of respect, and they say, I really love Billy Napier. I love his quarterback. I love how he's brought the team along slowly. I think he's going to have one of those teams that can break out. And in the final analysis here, aside from Florida getting a little bit of run as a breakout, as an outlier, whatever you want to call it, a team that has a shot, not the easy pickings like we know about Texas, we know about Georgia, etc. We know about Alabama. What team from the middle has a chance, besides Florida, to jump up there and maybe take center stage and get in the playoffs? Can you think of anybody, Allie?
I mean, Ole Miss, possibly.
Okay. All right. Rob, you got anybody?
Texas A&M, just because their offensive line is so good this year. And I like Mike Elko as a defensive coach. I think he's going to be focused a lot more on the defense. I don't see it with Ole Miss. I got Auburn winning 9 or 10 games, but Hugh Freeze and I'm an Auburn grad, y'all know that. He just doesn't exude any, he's got to do a better job of projecting winning. Okay. Billy Napier smiled a lot today. I mean, y'all see him every day, but I mean, he looked happy.
He did smile a lot. You're right.
He's not done that before. Before he was just like somebody, trying to pass a kidney stone and they ran out of pain pills. But he seems like he's having fun. And if you're not having fun, this show we get to do every day, it is not work. I mean,
speaking of which, we're getting
fun.
a rap signal from the producer,
okay,
I believe.
Okay, sorry.
Allie B. Wilbur, what you got on your show here soon? Anybody we should know about? On a peek inside the Gators? Any plans?
I mean, we're going to start breaking down each game, what we think we can expect, and probably go position group by position group. And maybe we'll see if we can get some former players from those position groups to kind of weigh in.
Yeah, just go in the bedroom there and get your kicker out of bed.
I do make him weigh in sometimes. That's for sure.
Come on sometime. Family show. Appreciate it, Allie. Rob, thank you, buddy. It's a great day at Jobs. I want to tell all folks one more time about our good friends, of course, who make this possible. We mentioned earlier our friends at Meldon Law. It's Titan MRI. I want to tell you about that. Titan MRI and imaging. They're expanding. There goes North Central Florida now. They've got this going on now for the past year. Joe Colorio is back, and he is, he was the Highfield MRI, and he's now back with the folks at Highfield Titan MRI. Check them out if you need any kind of CAT scan, or especially if you need a CAT scan or you need to have an MRI, because no one loves going to have an MRI, but it's great to have it when you need it. And these folks know everybody doesn't like to go into those cages. They make it a point to deliver more innovative ways for that to happen, so you won't be as claustrophobic. And they do it well. They have lots of locations to help you out. Check them out in Lake City and Gainesville, soon to come into Ocala. Titan MRI and imaging. All right, guys. Rob, great job, great day, and great fun. Brendan, thank you. I guess that's any final thoughts, Rob?
Yeah, let me say something real quick about sponsors that sent us to Media Days again. Rumble Boxing Gym in Memphis. Find the QR code on here. How you fight is how you live. Ann Camp Lee, lover, been a friend for a long time. Thank you. Also want to say, I don't know if we have a QR code, but Gators Home Innovation. You want a man cave, security, everything in one touch button. GattisHomeInnovation.com. And Web-Footed Kennels, the great folks in Jonesboro, Arkansas. If you got a dog, a hunting dog, you want the best trainer. I've known Chris for 30 years, Web-Footed Kennels. But that's a lot of fun with you, buddy. And I'm going back tomorrow. I'm going to feed y'all sound bites and more sound bites, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, you did a great job today, man. You worked hard. Brendan did too. So thank you very much. And,
blessed to be on here with y'all. Thank you.
This will be suffice for our program tonight. We won't be coming back to you at 8 o'clock Central or 9 o'clock Eastern. So check out Rob tomorrow, SEC Sidelines. Any special guests tomorrow, Rob?
We're going to be interviewing coaches from Missouri, Kentucky, players, Texas A&M, Arkansas. And, man, we're getting so many guests for the future shows. It's the time to go out there and meet people. It is the greatest trade show and sports media on the planet. So we'll be ready.
Have a great day. Thank you. Thanks, folks. And good night.
Good night, everybody.